September the 1st, 2020, and you know why you're here, so let's kick this off right and introduce the players. Hey, I'm Gerissar, the PvP Padawan. Where am I? Oh, you're above me now. Okay. Hey, and Winstead is not here, but that's okay, because Andallyn, how about you do it? Who do we got on the show today?
Good, man. Thanks for having us.
Yeah,
That is
looking forward to chatting with you. Yeah, doing damn fine. Thanks for having us on the show. I'm looking forward to having a good talk with you guys.
nice. Well, I'm gonna have to roll back and get a little bit younger to get my mindset back into vanilla and classic WoW stuff because I am uh, being a vanilla player. I have to roll back that way in order to get into that mindset. But hey, you guys talk to us a little bit. Actually, first, Jeffrey, talk a little bit about yourself. How long you been playing WoW, and what brought you from to just going back to classic?
Well, I've been playing WoW since probably right between when TBC was launched into Wrath. And my name's OG Jeffrey, and been streaming about 2 years and playing very actively since Wrath, and I'll always come back to the expansions. And I didn't really discover my love for vanilla or classic WoW, as you know now, until probably about a year or two after Wrath actually had launched, and had found my way onto some different private servers, and I kind of found my home in a lot of ways. I always felt myself gravitating towards that iteration of the game. And I always like checking out the new version of the game and playing for a month or two, but I always find myself coming home at the end of the day. And
Fair enough.
yeah, yeah, it's safe to say that it's my favorite version of it as well.
Fair enough. Uh,
And
yeah.
and just a couple of notes about what I like to do with the game. I might not be someone that raid logs or does that on a weekly basis, but I love the game for a lot of its other features. And one of the things that I think that they just nail so well is the world aspect. It feels so alive. I think
Mhm.
that's what brings us
Yeah.
back to it all the time. The world PvP, the ever-changing world with being able to interact with the players around you in a very unique way, and it's a sandbox game in a lot of ways. So I feel it has a lot of replay value in that way. So a lot of what I do is not only tournament organization and I found a new love for shoutcasting, but just general horseplay in the world. And that's kind of what I do when I'm playing the game and when I'm creating content.
Totally love it. Just quick, what server are you playing over on Classic?
Grobulous, and it's one of
Robulous,
those
nice.
where I do not regret it. It was a tough decision going into it.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
sure you guys were all there. It was like the night before Christmas. You're choosing what
Yeah.
server you're doing. You're
Mhm.
reserving all your names, and
Yeah.
and I got a lot of good feedback from my community and from my friends of just the how strong RP servers communities were, and I'm glad I took them up on that, because I haven't regretted my decision one bit. There's just so many neat events that are unique that
Yeah.
happen specifically on Grab that I just don't see in other places. So I love it there a lot.
Totally agree. Totally agree. Grimy, how about you?
Hey guys. Yeah, I've been playing World of Warcraft since classic, I guess you could say vanilla launch back in the day. I mained a rogue back then, and went through all of the problems and the excitement that came with vanilla WoW, and then ended up playing through BC and Wrath of the Lich King, and kind of stopped after there, and like Jeff said, kind of went the private server route, just because a lot of my love brings me back to the original game format. Um,
Sure.
Nice. Sorry, just one sec. Apparently, we're having a little technical issue. Hearing in chat that they can't hear Andallyn.
No, I fixed it. We're good.
Oh wait, okay. My apologies.
Audio issues are the worst, and I'm such a boomer when it comes to the audio side of things sometimes. And even
Yep.
though I've been streaming a couple of years now, I still feel like there's so much for me to learn where some of these things are concerned. And even during our tournament over the weekend, it was one of those where, like, on the fly, it was like, oh gosh, it was the same issue. You couldn't hear one person. Fortunately, you guys caught and fixed that more quickly than I did.
Yeah.
You did a good job with it on Sunday, Jeff. Give yourself credit.
Thank you, Jeremy.
That's right. Yeah, man, I've been there. I've had what seems like every issue under the sun. So I just feel like I don't know. Every single time it's like, oh yeah, what is it going to be this time? Now it's just like, all right, is it A, B, C, or D this time? Like,
Yeah, I should have been there when my mod was trying to help me set up my mixer and my new microphone.
Yeah.
It was the
I can only
journey.
imagine.
Yeah,
I
we
can
did
only
the
imagine.
screen. We did the screen sharing that helped ease the pain just a little bit.
Yeah, there's a reason why I let Andallyn. He's like, let me just do this. I'm like, yep, have it, and it's been wonderful because
we make it work.
He's the broadcast guru for the show.
Yeah, having someone that's expert in audio makes a world of difference in this
Huge.
world.
Exactly, especially when it's an audio only podcast originally. So
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the cams can bring a lot to it as well. So it's nice to see you guys have kind of moved in that direction. And I'm sure that's kind of your preference with your guests as well, when they can have that as well, that animation that can bring a lot of color to the stream in a lot of ways.
I think either way works. I like the gnome staring us down with the engineering goggles. That's
Staring
Like-
at your soul.
Yeah.
There'll be a new photo.
Don't
in
act
the
like you don't
future
see
here,
this
TM.
mustache. Yeah.
yeah.
What's funny is I think it's part of the simplicity when it comes to my streams overlays, when it comes to the pictures, is it has this it rings true to the classic vibe sometimes. I like my in between or my intermission screens are very fitting too. It kind of goes with like there was a certain level of scuffness when it came to old PvP videos that felt very comfortable and very homey where classic was concerned, and I feel like it has that bit of a vibe to it. It isn't perfect necessarily, but it isn't a perfect game at the end of the day either. And sometimes those imperfections are exactly what make the game in the first place.
Oh, exactly.
Absolutely.
Like when you found that bug or the working as intended, not really quirk, where you're able to make something just break.
Yeah.
Is just so much fun.
Yeah,
Well-
it really is. Those imperfections can make the game in a lot of ways. Like, sure, I might see an NPC that's stuck on a pole, kind of like twirling around, stuck in that spot. But when I see it, I'm like, oh, I'm not like going to be like, oh, broken game, I can't play it. I'm going to kind of giggle, and it almost gives a little character to the world.
You're a '90s guy, aren't you?
I am a '90s guy.
Yeah,
I
and see, this
really
is why
am.
this is how I know that, because you played Pokemon Red, maybe
I-
Blue on your Game Boy Color, right? And you did the rare candy trick, and you said, "Oh, this is amazing!" Right? And all your friends in school, yep, exactly, it's because we were bred on that type of gameplay, right?
100%.
100%. And so it's like when you find those imperfections and you find those bugs and those kinks in the game that you can exploit, but you're not doing it with malicious intent, like, you know, which is something that they kind of have to deal with now. In the 90s, if we did it with malicious intent, it probably would be a different story, and we probably wouldn't have been able to enjoy it like we did. But, yeah, I just find that so...
There's a certain level of innocence to it, isn't there?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There is.
Yeah, and naivete. Yeah, absolutely.
And you don't see that in modern games as often. There isn't the up, down, B, left, right. There isn't the, I didn't say that right, but there isn't these key codes to the games, right? Someone's gonna be in the chat like, but there isn't you don't really find that in games as often, like cheat codes, and even like all of Grand Theft Autos, like have a tank fall from the sky. These things don't really exist in games as often. I think it's sometimes because everything has to be competitive, so we don't have those things anymore.
Sure.
Not as often anyway.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I counter that with some of the things that Blizzard has been doing with the whole secrets community and building these. They're building Easter eggs into the game consistently. If it's not a pop reference, if it's not some quest that has some interesting text, if it's not some voiceover that is a little quirky, they're constantly adding stuff. And I think in that's it may not be purposefully broken. But there's one thing that I think Blizzard is definitely doing I've always loved it in their games, is where they always have these little quirky things that are nods to pop culture. That's even created its own pop culture in a way.
Oh yeah, they've really always been on top of that in a very big way, and I love finding the Easter eggs. You're 100% right about
yeah.
it. I'm speaking of pop culture. It was, and I don't know if this is the case as much these days, but you sometimes would see that even in uh, from some of your favorite celebrities, like how invested they were in the
Yeah.
game.
Yeah.
There's some fun videos and things of that where celebrities are talking about their love of the game, and you hear that passion in
Totally.
their voice, and
Oh
I
yeah.
always loved that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I want to get a night elf mohawk again.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I could have made that my picture. Maybe that would done just as well.
Just awesome. Well, hey guys, uh, since we're talking about the past and everything, normally we talk about what we've been up to since our last show, which is about 2 weeks ago. So, Grimy, how about we start with you? What have you been up to these last 2 weeks?
As most people know, we just hosted our Ruddy Raider 3v3 Classic Arena Trios
Yeah.
tournament. That was basically, in summary of my last 2 weeks, everything kind of led up to this Sunday and in preparation for next Sunday as well.
Nice. It must have been super busy. Like, did that take all 2 weeks, or did you take more than 2 weeks to set up for that?
So we're grateful to have an awesome logistics team behind the scenes that most people don't see. I know a lot of the participants and people close to us kind of know who Bob is. Big shout out to Bob for making
Yeah,
everything happen. Bob's the man.
Bob.
Bob, Pirate Wizard Bob is the man. But yeah, we couldn't do it without the team. It takes a lot to, when you're doing like a cross server, cross faction event like we kind of
Oh,
do,
God. Yeah.
it takes a lot to get everybody in line
Yeah.
and make sure everybody knows exactly what's going on when you're sending out the War Games invites, getting a schedule out and getting the bracket finalized as people check in. It's a huge process that a lot of people overlook, and I'm glad that like we now have it down to a science. It is flawless in every aspect, and I really appreciate that we can make it as easy as we can for not only my team but for the participants as well.
That's awesome. And yeah, when you're doing something like that, if you don't have a proper admin team, it just, I can only imagine it's just hectic and hellish. Andallyn, what have you been up to these last 2 weeks, buddy?
A lot of the same stuff from last time, man. I've still been farming the gold. We cracked 1.1k yesterday. Oh, sorry, 1.1 mil. Yeah, it's like, wait a second, that didn't sound right. Yeah.
Is this classic gold again?
No, we cracked 1.1 mil. With not to jump too far ahead, but with the dates being released, I'm not sure if we can make the quest for the long boy. But
oh, that's sad. That's too bad.
It's all right. We made a valiant effort, but hey, how we see it is we're gonna have a bunch of gold going into the expansion, which is always a good thing. So, and nonetheless, who knows if we get a few different things to sell, we could actually come pretty close. So a lot could happen. People come back to play during pre-patch. They start to load up on transmog. Maybe they try to bump up and get some materials in. So, I mean, we've got lots of item value that, if it sells, it could be a game changer. So we'll see.
And this might be a bit of a broad question, but what are your thoughts on the current state of gold making, as far as it being, in my understanding, a lot of where your gold's going to be coming from is things like transmog, cosmetic, like those type of items, those ones that are slow sells. You aren't necessarily going out and herbing or mining and making good portions of gold, which I like about. That's one thing that I really love about new expansions. I think I sell if you remember Fellhide and Legion.
Yep.
The first night it
still
came
sells
out,
really good.
I was selling it like 20k per and that was pretty good back then.
Okay.
And then it dropped instantly like 100 3 days later. And now it's back up again, which is awesome. I love when old world materials sell like that. But are you, to kind of wind things back, are you satisfied with the current state of gold farming?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. And it's
a really good question.
It's honestly, my answer is yes. And maybe that's a little bit maybe not from the best place. I'm new to the gold farming scene per se. So like the whole revamp and rework of the auction house has made it really convenient, and I really like the new design personally, especially in conjunction with Trade Scale Master. Lately, because my partner and I've been taking the materials, and so we've done material farms for the past 3-4 weeks and made 1.1 mil off of straight materials. Transmog has been very little of that. There's so few players playing the game right now. We don't sell much transmog at all.
Fair.
And so we've been. I actually just sold a stack of fell hides for like 750 gold a piece for 4 of them. So yeah, 750 for 4 of them just yesterday. So
That's good.
there's a world quest that is really easy that pops you like a couple different fell hides now, and honestly, not to like divulge all of our secrets, but we've been we've been selling a lot
Give
of
us the secrets.
we've been selling a lot of good. Are you guys on Sargeras?
No.
Not I'm on Airy Peak.
Chat, is anyone listening in this on Sargeras? If no one's on Sargeras, we're good to go.
I'm transparent.
Yeah, but real
I
talk,
have an alt on Stargares.
we've been selling the crap out of corium, eternium ore, and actually fell iron bars, because that's been an incredible farm because it gets you primal fires as well. Those things sell out the wazoo. I actually just spent 60k, bought out all the primal fires, and reset the price on them. I'm really excited to log in right now and see if they sold, but I don't think that's proper etiquette during the podcast, so we're gonna refrain.
I may be getting the itch to log in too to check out what my gold farm is.
You guys are making me want to fire it up, make some gold. There's
I
nothing more
know.
satisfying than a completely full mailbox of cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. But unfortunately for me, it turns into the other way around some of the time, especially when I attempt my hand in retail gold farming, when I've tried some of the transmog game, and I'm sure you guys know that feel all too well when everything starts coming back and you're just like, oh. Of course, I had basic mog. I didn't have anything too special
See,
when I was doing it.
here's the thing: it doesn't come back if you cancel scan continuously.
True. I see the little things I'm already learning when I
There
get
you
back
go,
in the game
man.
here.
Yeah, I know for myself. I did the transmog long game, and it's been between that and doing some. Boy, what the heck added? Sorry, I just got a thing telling me that they're gonna do an ad break. Weird. Anyways, yeah. So I've been doing the Tmog thing, the transmog reposts. That's been keeping me pretty flush for buying tokens. So I haven't had to actually pay for a subscription for the last 6 years.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's a lot of money saved.
Not
Yeah.
bad.
Can't ask for more
well,
than that, honestly.
Yeah, it's just a little bit of time doing that, and then I was a little late. I was a little late in getting into the reposting of the materials in BFA, but it seemed I tried it at first. I went with the gem market, trying to reset the gem market, but that was a complete folly, and I've lost a lot of money trying to do that. So then I just switched over and I just went to core mats. So between herbs and ores and just buying low and selling high on those, I was doing pretty good in the last several weeks, I'd say.
I found that mounts are actually popping off right now, and I attribute that a lot to Asmongold's mount competitions. People aren't necessarily going deep into transmog right now. They're going into like mounts. They're mount farming. That's the thing right now.
Actually, I sold a whole bunch of Tmog just before the special event that just happened.
Oh yeah,
on the weekend there.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And that's gonna always be popular. Those aren't gonna lose their value. Some might. Those like the what was it, the wolf and Draenor that was super easy to get. That was like BOE. There's a couple that aren't gonna go up in value, but for the most part, that's a really safe item that is always gonna maintain its value too if you're holding on to things like that.
Absolutely.
Exactly. Jeffrey, what have you been up to the last 2 weeks?
Honestly, it feels like a lot of it has been this tournament just consuming a lot of time. In a good way, in a healthy way, it's been looming over the head. It's been keeping me focused on it, and I'm glad that day one is over. I can go into day two with confidence, knowing how well day one went. I would think I was more nervous before that, but now it's just like, okay, we can just carry on with this momentum that we had. But there's been other projects as well. Just I've been getting more invested into the shoutcasting scene, as I am like an aspiring professional shoutcaster, and it's been great to see. The more I've been doing it, more communities have approached me to try to do their events. And recently, the Mancrick community, the 19 Twink community, that branches further than just Mancrick, has contacted me, and And I've been meeting a lot of people from that server, and they've been really wanting someone to do their games and cast their low-level war games and their low-level dueling tournament they were doing. And I've been getting invested in that, and it's kind of just snowballed from there, where I'm just getting I'm getting asked to do different tournaments and things in the future that'll be shoutcasting related, and sometimes it's not even like a tournament per se, but an event. So this Friday I've got like a 30 versus 30 19 twink battle that's going to be happening on Man Creek, and it's just neat things like that. And I've been really happy. The deeper I've dived into these waters, the more opportunities I've gotten where these things are concerned. Where at this point, there was a time where I really had to seek out this content and seek out tournament play. But at this point, it's kind of finding its way to me, which I absolutely love, because people want to have
awesome.
their events showcased and in the best possible light, and not to mention kind of bring more people into their community. And I think my community does that.
That's awesome. It's great that you're reaching the level of professionalism where people are coming to you. You're not having to look for things.
Exactly. It's a really nice spot to be, because it can be tough to create these events by yourself. At the end of the day, you're going to have much more success creating something special when you do it with from a collaborative effort instead of just by yourself.
Indeed. It looks like you have a fan in chat saying need to bring back the Pirate Fight Night.
Yeah, the pirates. I could tell you my love story with them, but it's a long one. I won't sit in my rocker and ramble too much. But I've made a lot of friends over the course of my journeys, and that reaches from private servers to different servers on Classic now, and that we would just a summary of it. We would take over Red Ridge and take over the town, all in RP, half the group in RP pirate hats and half the guild and green gear, and even if they're at 60, and then half of them not even 60, and then from there, after the town was ours, and we'd sit there and have duels amongst the crew, if you will. And it was a blast. I feel like
for the spoils, yes.
Yeah, exactly. You got to enjoy it.
That's right.
I feel like that guild would have fit really well in with Grob. They are in Ferlina, but it would have been one of those where that pirate guild would have been a very fitting on Grob. I would have loved to see the Red Ridge takeovers on a more regular basis. Now, I do have a tune on Ferlina, so I still get a taste of those things, but I always do reminisce about my Northdale days when I did first start my streaming, and those were some of the adventures I had went on and some of the friends I had met.
That's awesome. Huh. I think that's one thing that's kind of missed in BFA now, is doing things like that.
Oh yeah.
But
one thing I'm really excited about with retail, because it might not have the most lively world right now where the game's at all times, besides your world quest and etc. But what I'm going to try to do is I'm primarily a classic streamer right now. I don't really branch out much, and retail is usually something I do in my own personal time. But I do think I'm going to stream some Shadowlands at the start for at least the first couple of weeks, because I'm going to try to just encourage an incredible amount of world PvP, because I know when the expansion starts, that's usually, like, you do see that. So I'm going to turn on war mode, and I'm just going to go out with friends and just be like, hey, let's just rain hell, let's just cause hell in this zone. And I'm going to concentrate more on that than I am leveling. And I think that's going to be a blast.
That will be a blast.
That's awesome.
Oh yeah.
All right. Huh. I think because I remember with Shadowlands, they're going to bring back the free for all PvP events too, world PvP events.
Yeah, like the Bareback Brawl. That was so much fun, man.
Oh yeah.
I would always go get the dragon and just be like, ha ha ha.
Oh, when you got them out, yes. Rain fire from above.
Oh yeah, man. I could do work on the deer though, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was back when I was playing Red Paladin.
An excellent opportunity to get angry at your own faction. I absolutely love it.
Yes.
Yes, actually, now you mentioned that.
Yeah, I'm sure we've all made some rivals in there because of that.
Yeah. Well, how about wow, I want to do these parts of the structure because I just want to punch through them. You guys are amazing to talk to. But I really want to do this one. This is probably our favorite one. It's the need, greed, and pass segment.
Likely won't be.
What the need, greed, and pass is in the segment. One of the hosts is going to pose a scenario with 3 options related to WoW. And the participants need to decide which option they will need, which they will greed, and which they will pass. So let the hilarity commence as we decide what we will need, greed, and pass. And I also am going to throw this back to chat and to the people listening at home. Listen and send in or write in chat right now what your need, greed, and pass is on these three choices. So, talking about classic servers, I know this has been around for a bit. There's the conversation of what's going to happen next, right? There's questions if the classic server that has currently been put in by Blizzard, if it's going to continue to evolve and move on to the next other expansions, or if they're going to create other servers with each of their own pristine or their own versions of that expansion. So let's assume Blizzard decides to just start creating more servers with individualized expansion packs. The three choices you're going to have are Wrath of the Lich King, Cataclysm, or Mist of Pandaria.
Ooh.
So you can need on one, greed on the other,
Okay.
and pass on the third.
All right, old Jeff, you can go here.
Yeah,
Jeff, you can go first.
We got this. Well, this, I was a Wrath baby at heart.
Yep.
I might have started in TBC, but I was a Wrath baby, so I need it. I don't. It's not an option at this point. I need it. And Kata, I don't think there'll be too many surprises there. I'm gonna pass on that one, and I'm gonna greed on Pandaria. I enjoyed that one quite a bit. At first, when I was talking with my friend about it some time ago, I was like, it wasn't for me. But the more I thought about it, I was like, I played that a shit ton. It was actually, I played it a lot.
Yeah.
I loved their mount farming system in that. I thought it was peak
Yep.
mount farming for reputations and everything else. And I actually had a lot of hours in the game. So yeah, I'm gonna go need on Wrath. I need it. Pass on Kata and greed on pass on Kata, then greed on Panda. There we go.
Got it. All right, that was fast. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, this
I
one's
like that
kinda-
question
this one's
too.
kinda
Honestly.
easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He wants
All
a
right.
harder question, man.
I mean, I'd probably, not to sound unoriginal, but I'd probably do the same. I'd need on
Yeah.
Wrath,
Yeah.
I'd greed on Mist, and I'd pass on Kata. And the only reason I'd even greed on Mist is to vendor it, in my opinion, though.
Yeah, right.
Ooh, dirty.
Wow.
Doing Panda
Okay.
dirty.
Oh wow. Okay. I have a quick question for you guys. What about the Kata are you like that just makes it I don't care about it? I'm just curious.
I think for me it started ripping away at the world so much of what made it special. Some of the quests started getting deleted, and it was a really dangerous road to head down. And one where they even started trying to they corrected it in the sense that they were like, hey, we're not going to do that anymore. We're not going to destroy our old world once we create it. We're going to leave it as it was during the expansion time. They kind of learned from that mistake because I think it is important that new players can go through that as if lightly, it was as if it was live, and explore that world in the same way. Now it was a very bold move. It was a very bold adventure to rip the world apart and let you fly in it, and they had to restructure so much of it, and so some of it needed to be reworked. It just wasn't meant for it, but it just started destroying so many of those things that were special to the player in a very large way. And one thing that I will say though, when I've had this discussion with my chat quite a bit is favorite expansions, what was good about this one, what was good about that one. And one thing that a lot of players did like about Kata when they come to me is they liked the PvP. They liked where a lot of classes were at. They liked the arena. And I think that's what it did do good, despite my choosing to pass on it.
Okay. Fair. Andallyn, do you have a choice?
I do. I'm all set. My mind's been made up.
Bring it.
I'm needing on the pandas.
Hey,
All
somebody's
right.
gotta.
I know. I'm not doing it to be the token person. Legitimately. I think
He's just saving it from the vendor.
yeah, somebody's gotta.
Yo, if all you guys are gonna agree on it, I don't have to roll on need for you guys. So there we go. But
Minus 50 DKP.
Pandaria was my favorite iteration of playing. Because for me, I started playing because I played through vanilla. I don't really like to talk about this because I get a lot of backlash from this, but it's just my opinions. I'm entitled to my own opinion, but I honestly got to level 60 and I stopped playing the game because I just didn't find it enjoyable. And so I actually came back to playing with a group of friends in college that I had met, and our entire dormitory floor started a guild, and me and my roommate were the GMs of this guild. And he's like, dude, Cataclysm drops in 90 days. He's like, you're going to be able to get to max level by then? And I said, you're damn right I am. So that was it. That was the challenge. I hit max level just before, like 3 or 4 hours before Cataclysm dropped. And we jumped into Cataclysm,
Wow.
and it was a lot of fun. But Mist of
You are a
Pandaria
machine.
was probably my favorite iteration just in PvP. I had the most fun in that time just with the community where it was, and being able to have everything kind of have a playable option for the most part. I mean, ideally you can. There's plenty of examples where that's not true, but more often than not, when you're comparing different iterations of the game, especially lately, other things being viable and not so much. We had a lot of fun at RBGs with the guild. I led a group of 1,600 misfits into 2K and RBGs. It was just fun. We were pushing. We were doing great. Arenas were hitting off, and it just had a great community. So I'm going to need on Mist of Pandaria. I'm going to greed on the Wrath of the Lich King because I never really got to experience it completely in its entirety. Just the very end of it. And so, it'd be great. People have mixed feelings on it. Overwhelmingly, the perception towards Wrath of the Lich King is overwhelmingly positive, but I'd like to give that a shot. And then I'm gonna just pass on Cataclysm, and that's it was good. It was fun, but I just think that the Mist of Pandaria was a lot more fun.
All right.
Yeah, that's
I
very
get you.
fair.
Those are solid reasons.
Yeah. All right, Gerissar, what about you, man? Let's hear it.
Okay. So, from a PvP perspective, I am going to need on Mist of Pandaria.
That's number 2.
I think that was one of the best PvPs. Just all the seasons and how balanced it was, and the gearing and everything. I'm going to greed on Kata. I truly enjoyed PvPing in Kata. I know that primarily it was because I was running Frost Mage, and it was the first time I got together. We had a guild RBG group going, and we didn't get very high rating, but it was just so much fun. I just have fond memories of that. I do remember one time fat fingering the the haste buff, so I time warped right as the gates were opening, so we didn't have time warp for a while on a Warsaw Gulch. So that was unfortunate. I still remember that, but yeah. Anyway, overall that was just overly a fun time, and I'm gonna pass on, I'm gonna pass on Wrath. Wrath was PvP was just broken. I remember being there with a buddy. I was doing 2s. He was a DK.
Yep.
And I was a warlock. And yeah, it was almost just not fair. It didn't feel right.
Yeah, DKs definitely were like the hero class of the expansion, much as what they were titled as, and they had that strength to boot.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were. I think it wasn't until like near the end of the expansion they were actually kind of reeled back in and brought down to something of
the best class.
Yeah.
And Wrath actually was an expansion I think that very could have easily gone. It is received very well when we look back at it, but I think it was really close to it, / it had the potential to have not been. And there was because when it launched, Next wasn't something that players were like, yes, let's do this necessarily. It was me as a new player over to the game. It was a great introduction to raiding, but it really needed help. It needed saving, and I think Ulduar kind of did that. And they almost and that was a magnificent raid aesthetically, mechanically, and then they almost dropped the ball with Talk, and that could have easily kind of the expansion could have took a nosedive. And sometimes you see where it does bad enough in a raid where then you don't see very good raid content the next year because they're like, this expansion's done, we're going to the next. But fortunately, it was saved with ICC.
Yeah, I remember. I think it wasn't Trial of Crusader. Was it almost felt like a loot pinata
Yeah.
The bosses were a little undertuned. A lot of people complained how easy it was, and the way it was brought in, it didn't quite. It felt to not fit the aesthetics. I think people were expecting something different than all. Like here, we're all like battling certain versions of evil and preparing ourselves to go against the Lich King, and then out of the blue, we're going to do a jousting festival to see who's the better hero. Like it just I think that felt really weird. It felt out of
Yeah.
place.
Or like
But,
summon these demons into the arena just because.
yeah, why not?
Yeah, right.
Overall, though, I think that raid was fun. I think it was it was a lot of fun. I think a lot of people underrated it. I know it got a lot of hate for the one battle that had the PvP side to it.
Yeah.
The PvP NPCs. A lot of people hated that.
Yeah, I remember that getting a little bit of flack.
Yeah.
What are you guys' thoughts on because I don't know that we've really seen this as much, but like I kind of miss having like a new battleground in the expansion, because I don't know, we had that temporary Azerite one, but that didn't really resonate with me. But I really liked like
garbage.
Pandaria, the ball one.
Oh,
That
Temple of
was
Katmagu?
that's so much fun. That's one of my favorite. It was one of the reasons I look back fondly on Pandaria, I think.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I kind of miss that concept of like a new BG once when an expansion comes out, and then like sometimes once later, halfway through. I think they might have done that, but either way,
Yeah.
I really like that cycling BG. Do you think we'll see that in Shadowlands?
Nope.
Yeah.
That's a damn shame.
Maybe midway, through a midway patch, because I know one of the on the box features we're really getting is a new arena.
Yeah.
But as far as Battleground is concerned, and I can't help but think it might be due to the fact that the Seething Shore was just so garbage. Like they've had to take it out of the rotation for like chunks amount of time, sometimes short, sometimes a little bit longer, in excess of like 48 hours, because it's just like, you know, this node's bugged, or the people fall out of the map, or like it doesn't count, or you're actually hitting double nodes. Like it's had so many problems. It's just like, and nobody likes it. Everyone's just like, oh man, why can't we just play on a good map? Like it's just it makes RPGs, a struggling scene, even worse to play.
I think the one thing people disliked was so when they had the nodes starting randomly, there were some times where the opposite faction had a clear and obvious advantage because they'd have nodes drop like right below them.
Yeah.
And yeah, like sometimes one of the airships would go out of bounds, so you'd like get ported out of the BG.
Oh, that's frustrating.
Like there's some bugs there. I think that the out of bounds one wasn't in beta. I don't remember seeing that. It popped up. They did some tweaking and then something changed, and there was that. But I think with the way BGs work, people are so looking for the dance. They want to know where to find things. Cookie cutter response. They want the rope response. They don't to be able to react at truly on a reactive mode without any prepared responses is very difficult, especially in a game. I can understand that. As far as I understand, so we've had expansions where they've inputted or they put in new BGs. They've had expansions where they put in new arenas. They've had expansions where they've put in new world PvP, and I think this is an expansion where they're just doing world PvP in an arena. And I'm not expecting us to see any other maps put into this expansion. I would not be surprised if the next expansion we saw either a full battleground map or another Winter Grasp or Acheron or any of that stuff. So we'll see.
I actually kind of enjoyed Tolbarad though. That was kind of fun.
I didn't mind that.
I like that one. Yeah, that was fun. I enjoyed accessing a raid after earning a zone.
Yeah, I think that's cool. Are like neat concepts, and if we could kind of move in a direction where we are encouraged to go in the world, I think that's really a solid way to go. Because at the end of the day, for me anyway, that is what makes the game so special.
The social aspect of
the
it.
MMO,
yeah.
Yeah, that's it's. There's a few. This is gonna be a whole podcast in itself. What makes an MMO special,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely, right.
Right. You guys really, if you want someone
That's
to
a
take you guys
series.
off topic, you brought the right guest on, because I'm an old man in my rocker. I might not be, I might be only 29, 30 next month, but I know how to tell a tale when I really get going. So, yeah. But what makes an MMO special, and for me, it is those interactions you have with players. It is the world, and WoW hits the nail on the head in so many ways, but sometimes they miss the mark on the world and the interaction in the world, and so if they can encourage that through different open arenas in the world, like, I'll bring it on. It gives me, like, at that point, if they did enough of that, like an EverQuesty vibe, or back in the day where you could like interact with other
Yep.
players in the outside dungeon, which fundamentally sounds so much fun, as stressful as it would be.
Yeah, I think we've all recognized that playing World of Warcraft on your own, while you can kind of do it, is really boring. And I think that's what
Yeah.
a lot of people end up doing. Like,
Yeah.
I've done it sometimes, where it's okay, I just want to log in. I don't have time to sit in LFG for 30 minutes to make a group. I'm just gonna go on. I'm gonna hit LF. I'll just do LFR. I'll just like queue a random dungeon and whatever. So.
Well, see, that's where you start to walk over and not even almost realize that you're walking over the root cause analysis here.
Yeah.
And because it's like, well, why are people sitting in LFG? Like, don't you play games with people, right? So you got to think, well, why are people trying to find random people to play with? Like, where are the communities? Right? So the problem is what they've done
Exactly.
is they've removed all these features that they could have built on, or that would be the foundation for why you'd have communities, such as guilds that would run with master looting. Like, the fact that they had the guild system where you could literally have guild perks. You could have put together stuff for guild housing. There was so much potential in what they had going, and what they could have done with these guild perks and all this type of stuff, and the guild achieves and all these types of really nice, very simple, and that's part of what made it really nice. But they said, no, let's just get rid of all of it. People are exploiting it. Like, come on.
Yeah.
It's a shame that if you could ruin that. And I love the passion I hear in your voice when it comes to these things, because I could not agree more.
Yeah.
It's just, we swing and a miss in a lot of ways, because how special would some of that stuff been? That portal in Stormwind that's been there and mysterious for so long opens up, and we can go in and there's player housing, and that could be instance as well. Those gold perks were so neat as well, and some might have, maybe you would consider some of those OP, but at the same time, and maybe I agree with maybe the mass res maybe and take away, but I really like this. I liked those. It was something to work towards. You were getting guild levels. They could have expanded upon that, making more levels in next expansions with new perks that were appropriate to that expansion.
Exactly.
There's so many missed opportunities where that's concerned.
Mm-hmm.
No, I totally agree.
And really, the biggest one is the communities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It is unfortunate. Well, let's. I want to get to talking to you guys. I just.
Gerissar, we are 50 minutes in. I don't know if you.
Yeah, I know. We're 15 minutes in, and we haven't even got to the subject analysis. This is awesome.
If you need somebody to just ramble, like I said, Jeffy will get you off track if you ever need me on here.
Why do I even make show notes anymore? Like,
They didn't even hear our conversation off stream as well. We had a full conversation.
Oh my gosh, yeah. It's oh my gosh. Okay. Okay, I want to ask you. I want you guys to ramble on. I need to know more about these arena-like tournaments you guys are doing, and everything. I just also need to talk about the other PvP events, because I feel like people listen to this show to hear what those are.
Yeah.
So, upcoming WoW PvP events. All right. I think we're doing bumpers. I'm not sure. I'm just gonna keep talking. All right. So there's you guys. You guys did the Ready Raider Classic 3v3 tournament Sunday, and then the day 2 is next Sunday, right, on the 6th?
Yes, it is.
Awesome. And that is at the end of that Sunday. That's going to crown the winner for that tournament, correct?
Yep, so day 2 brings us down to 16 participating teams left, and the winner will take home the $2,100. Second place is
Nice.
$600, and third place is $300.
Nice.
Awesome.
That's awesome. Yeah. Uh, and this is obviously, I mean, this is the second one you guys are doing. You guys are kind of morphing it as you go along. There's going to be more coming up, right?
Yeah, so we've actually kind of morphed our esports aspect, and we kind of throw tournaments and events where we see fit. Right now, we're looking at a few different things for our next one, and just kind of talking with anybody that would be involved in logistics and the admins on like, okay, how can we do this? Because a big thing in Classic, especially when you're doing PvP events, is like the game wasn't made to do this originally. So like, what
Yeah.
do we have to do to accommodate this if we're going to do something like that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it can be a logistical nightmare trying to set up these. Like our only means for creating these tournaments is setting up war games, which you need you need at least 5 of each. At least 5 players from any given team or any given faction that is participating. So let's say you have 3 contenders, well, you still need to fill the game with at least 2 more. And let's say one of those drops out of the 5, then your war game closes and after 5 minutes or so. And there's
Yeah.
so these logistic boundaries are these boundaries, these limitations that we have to work around. And I think our team has done a really good job of that. And that's half the battle. You have to create a solid rule set. You need your prize pool. You need and then you need your players. But then you need more than that too. You need your referees. You need to then get people to fill the games. It's a lot that goes into it. And I do think our team is really gotten great at what they do. We have it's been people that I've met over the course of my two years journey streaming, where I've slowly casted tournaments and met different folks and a lot of these people that have taken part in this event to make it as special as it has been these past 2 have been folks I've met over the course of the journey. Casting this, casting. I cast one of Bob's tournaments, and I casted one of Ready Raiders GimyFishTank's tournaments, and these are the 2 people that I work with very closely for these things, and I feel we all do something very different for the team, but we've come together to create something very very cool and unique, and we've laid the foundation to continue to host these tournaments, and they'll only get more fluid and as we go on, and we've done the 2 versus 2, we've done the 3 versus 3, and now we've had a ton of requests we've PvP from the PvP community to do Warsong Gulch, and I would be surprised if that wasn't a direction we take in the coming months.
Nice.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Well, you guys must be doing something great, because it looks like the Classic Duelers League is copycatting you.
Yeah, we got there first. We got there first. But I know that their rule set is a little bit different. I think we have integrated line of sight because we feel that's a necessity for any arena style, especially when you're in phase 5 of Classic WoW and casters are now getting stronger. You need to give these melee classes and these other classes a chance to kind of counter those plays. And I feel like that's a big step. I mean, sometimes for the as an entertainment value, sure, people want to see fast matches, they want to see quick kills and everything, but we're not looking at that. We want to know who the best players are. We want to know who the best teams are. All we're interested in is the competition aspect.
Nice. That makes sense. I just found that really funny. You guys had already started this, and all of a sudden, the Classic Duelers League, hey, we're doing a tournament starting. Well, actually, it started yesterday. So
Yeah,
That's cool.
It's going to be a content or an action-packed week for the audience out there because there's 2 tournaments going on. But at the same time, it wouldn't have been the worst case scenario if they'd been staggered just a little bit. But hey, it's going to be the community is going to be happy. There's a lot going on this week. So
the more the merrier.
Oh yeah.
and honestly, I don't think I actually got asked on my stream. And I had to do some brainstorming yesterday. There was, one of the contenders in the CDL kind of came up to me and they were like, Jeff, hey, what do you think about this rule set? What do you think about the no LOS? What do you think about a couple of different, the triple DPS compositions being allowed, so like triple rogue and triple Ali shaman, which is just going to be absurd, is going to be allowed. And my take on it was, there's a reason we did things the way we did it. I think at the end, and I do prefer our rule set when push comes to shove. But what I do think is going to be interesting about it is we can watch his, and they're going to be starkly different because of these rule differentials, and therefore they will be a different show. They will be entertaining for different reasons, and I'm going to be interested just watching this and seeing how it goes. Because otherwise, if it was the exact same, I don't know. I mean, I'm still going to watch it, but it's going to feel more similar. And I sometimes wonder. I've wondered a couple times. I'm like, maybe that was part of the design, as well. So it feels like a different beast than ours did the day prior.
for sure.
And shout out to the Team Ready Raider participants that are participating in the CDL this week. Good luck.
Yeah. Best of luck, because I know
Alright.
that there is a fair few that have crossed over there too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes
Well, I'm sure
sense.
that they enjoy being able to have multiple things to participate in, right? As a professional player, like you want to be able to do exhibitions, right? So it's awesome.
Exactly. Yeah, more practice for them for Sunday's event for those that are competing in both tournaments, which I'm sure they're happy for.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, it is a lot of fun. So
Our Looking for War Games channel has been popping off in Discord for the last month.
yeah, people
Yeah.
looking to get
Yeah.
practice.
Oh,
It was a really good outlet for content too for me on my channel to just be able to fire open stream and kind of as I was touching on earlier, where the more I've been doing this, the more I've been delving into these waters, the more the content has come to me in a lot of ways, because people want to see their events. They want to shine a light on them, and they're able to do that
yeah.
with on the channel. And so there's been quite a few opportunities this past month to even fire up those war games and just do skirmishes, 3v3 skirmishes, and part of that is just the interest in that channel, which is in that Discord, and getting in war games in there, and that's great, because then I can just go live and be like, hey guys, we got this fun event planned, and it's a win-win for everybody. It's one of those
Yeah.
where I didn't have to put in that work to get something like that going, and they can get a light shined on that, so everybody's winning.
That's awesome. Wow. Sorry, I got distracted by something, but I never really realized like just how many different events have been going on in the background for the classic. I feel like that has probably been something because of the private servers, and now that classic is a supported Blizzard product, I'm seeing a lot more of them. But it makes me feel like that was something that maybe we were missing there earlier, Andallyn, when we're talking about the different events going on.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of smaller events that I'm kind of missing, because like even I didn't even there's more. I feel like there's more tournaments that just don't have a bright light being shined on them that are happening in the background. There's people that are hungry for it, and for instance, one thing that's neat on Grobulus is it's not just God, it was such a cool event. It's not just PvP either. We did the Burning Grob event recently, and it was a lot of collaborative effort. I was not involved in it. I brought in like probably the second or day before it, 2 days before it, and it was just this really freaking neat event where it was just hundreds of us in Sonaris, nearly like I don't know how many, enough to where we started lagging the server even a little, and we were all in Sonaris. Almost everyone was like in an RP get up, something, a farmer outfit, like a tuxedo, something, and the creativity was awesome. And there was so many different events that went on. The coordinator of the event did an amazing job. There was like an art contest where you'd look in the Discord at people's like
Wow.
the contestants like artwork, and there was prize pools for everything, like hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands, of gold in materials getting tossed out to these contestants for these different
Wow.
events. There was an art
That's
contest. There was
incredible.
2 live DJ sets. That there was 2 streamers streaming it. One had like 300 viewers or so. It was neat, and they were getting some attention and some love because of that. And they were playing
So
some
cool.
good music too, and we were all just partying out in Sonaris. And there was a relay race. There was duels going on. 2 live DJ sets, and we were partying for like 4 hours, and it felt so nostalgic in a unique way that
Wow.
I'm like in chills thinking about it, because it felt like a nightclub. I felt like I was in my early 20s going to a nightclub. I felt like I was almost going to an old school dance. It was just I haven't experienced anything quite like it in Classic.
Yeah.
And I only see things like that happening on Grab, and it was the Burning Grab event. And even at the end, there was someone to sell to finally burn. I don't know. This was something had to burn at the end of the event, of course. So there was actually someone in an ogre costume that was enlarged as well, sitting up at the top of the stadium, the stage, and everybody was putting Rain of Fire down, 1,000 campfires, tons of AOE, as he was constantly getting healed up. It was so remarkable.
That's hilarious.
And I can't wait till the next event like that. And I've been fortunate enough to get in contact with more event coordinators on Grobulus, so I can go to more of these events. Because what was it, 2 weeks ago? I had a level 6 versus 6 orcs versus human fight, and all 60s were respectful of it. There was 40 orcs running across Northshire Abbey at us 25 humans. It was fucking awesome. It was awesome. All of us twinked out, world buffs, only on Grobulus, baby, at Grob Mob. And I don't know. I'm just really looking forward to seeing what other events are created on that server, because there's a lot that doesn't get a light shined on it. and I'm hoping I can do that at least on Grobulus.
All right, so here's what you got to promise us. You got to promise us to let us know when these events pop up so we can shout out to these things, because
Exactly.
we'd love to be able to, like, not only for ourselves but just for our audience and our communities to be able to, like, kind of let that evergreen kind of word of mouth kind of go. Oh, yo, did you hear about this? Let's go check it out. So you got to let us know when this happens. That would be incredible. I would love to be able to kind of get a feel for that.
Oh, I'll definitely do that. I'll definitely do that. And people were going one step further from my community and other communities. People were making level 1s and we were summoning them. And it was just becoming this huge ordeal. Other content creators started showing up too and getting summoned out there. And yeah, I'll definitely, when something like that is happening, I'll get you guys involved as well, in case you want to come out, in case you want to stream it, whatever the case might be.
Yeah.
Awesome. I appreciate that. Looks like the chat is also the thing that's pretty fun. They're talking about that in chat as well. All right. So I get I don't even know why I'm following show notes.
Just throwing.
So
this was a PvP cast, right? That's what I'm talking about, running, grabbing everything else.
It's all good. No, it's all part of it. It's all part of it. I gotta ask though. Okay, so as soon as the war games were announced for Classic, what was the first thing you guys thought of? What was the first thing that made you go, we need to do something with this and make it a thing?
Oh, as soon as I saw that original article with the announcement, I was looking into the codes on how to, like, set up the war games correctly. We were doing some testing stuff in the background, and everything was, like, literally already being planned as we were still reading the article.
Awesome.
So there is such a hunger for this side of thing, for that competitive, there's so many competitive individuals in the classic scene, and there was such a hunger for this. And I always used to host things on a private server called PvP Henhouse. It was a dueling server that got popularized last summer before Classic would come out. And it no longer really serves a function at this point with Classic out. But it was a great place where I saw that hunger in the community. Every night I was doing on the fly tournaments of 8 to 16 people, if not more, every night for 3 months it felt like. And I knew there was such a hunger for this. And I have been so desperate for a PTR or something, or a tournament realm to do these things on. Once again, I couldn't replicate my content that was what helped popularize me in some ways. And this was the ticket to being able to do that. And it might have to jump through a couple of hoops to make it happen, but it feels good to have that at the very least. So I would still love Blizzard if you're out there somewhere. I'd want the tournament realm, please give it to me. But I'll take this for now.
Yeah, understandable.
I wish they would have a Classic tournament realm.
And I don't think it would be too hard for them. I don't think it'd be too costly for the reward for the community. I really think it would help that community thrive in a big way, thus keeping their game alive that much longer for minimal expense. But I can't pretend to be an expert where some of that stuff's concerned either.
Yeah. I had a discussion with Tips Out about that very same thing at BlizzCon this last year, and the answer, because he's been to the site a few times, and because they thought about doing this back in I think about a year ago, less than a year ago. It was in February they were thinking about doing this, and they determined that they just weren't going to be able to. And there's a lot of red tape behind it. I can't begin to go through and start to dissect that, but it's a shame, because I think it's an internal problem more so than just like a Blizzard just saying no. You know what I mean? Like, so.
It feels like sometimes we don't receive that respect that we sometimes deserve. With, like, we're not kids, we're not younger.
Right.
Those excuses where it's just like we can't do it. We'd like to hear the technical reasons why sometimes, and it was kind of like back when we couldn't do Classic because we threw away the old information.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
It was just like, all right, guys, felt like I was a kid again, and my parent was saying we'll see. You just and after a while, after you get you're 25, you're 30, you're 40, you're whatever the case, it starts to get old after a little bit because you're like, come on, guys, you can't you can't fool me. But it'd be nice if there was just a little bit more dialogue where some of those things were concerned.
Yeah, that's understandable.
I'm thinking back because they did the classic Summer Bowl there.
Yeah, I love to see that. That was awesome.
And
that was definitely nice to see. Yeah.
So if I'm not mistaken, the first series was on Live Realms, but I thought that they did another set of series on TR. So I think they actually had a TR for a bit. They might have shut it back down though.
Maybe.
Interesting. Well, maybe that's just a for Blizzard kind of thing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
off limits to us.
Yeah.
So I do know.
We'll jump through the hoops.
So I do know with the community events like the Keystone Masters, where we've had Sierra on the show about that. They had anybody that signs up for those where they're going to go onto the TR, they have to all get vetted by Blizzard. So that maybe they just don't have the bandwidth to vet all the, maybe it depends on when the games are happening, where if it's during the AWC and it's during other Mythic Dungeon stuff, like they just don't have enough people to vet all these different players to make sure they have their upstanding members and they don't have any strikes against their accounts and all that other stuff, right? So
that's definitely an interesting way to look at it. And shout out to the Blizz esports team, because we've communicated with them and worked with them, and they've been really, really nice. And
they're amazing.
Yeah. And also, honestly, I'm surprised we even saw the Summer Bowl. So kudos to them. Like, you can tell they do care in that regard. That they do want their games to they do want it to last. They know those events are healthy for the game, and it's part of the reason I'm sure they approve of our events, and they have approved our events, and hopefully will in the future as well. Because it's healthy for the game, it's healthy for the community, and so I do thank them for that, because I'm surprised we even got that. I know there's talk in different communities where they would have liked it to be this rule, that rule for the competitive war song stuff, but hey, they can only learn from their past tournaments, and who knows, maybe they'll decide to do another one and take what they learned, and maybe we'll see some of those changes. But either way, I was really happy to see that we even got that much.
Yeah.
Totally.
I wouldn't even mind if we got a PTR, honestly, a constant PTR, much like retail does, because it would still allow for us to create characters on those realms and do some things outside of major cities with people from cross realm, which would be a pretty neat thing.
Yeah, we actually talked about that a little bit, and with the PTR possibilities for the first 2v2 with them, and they kind of were like, look, we'd recommend against it, although it would logistically work for you. The PTR could go down on you at any time, because the esports section of our company and the development company are completely separate. So the development side's going to do what they want, and they don't care if you're in the middle of hosting an event.
Exactly. And unfortunately, that server, it seems to be less stable. It seems like it's not given the care and love that the retails get. Which
Quotes
is
around that too.
Something.
Yeah. And that's understandable. Maybe it's just more maintenance and effort than it's worth for them, because maybe they just don't see the day-to-day use being prominent enough to make it worth their time. Sure, there's a few of us content creators and organizers that are like, hey, we could really use this, but it's, at the end of the day, it's really not a big enough demand for them to actually justify perhaps the cost and the effort needed to make something like that stable and constantly out.
Exactly. So here's a question. So you guys did the 2v2 duels on using war games in a BG. Now you're doing the 3v3 using again Warsong Gulch and Arathi Basin, if I'm not mistaken, for line of sight.
Yep, we're using both of them.
Okay. Sorry. Quick question on that. I'm going to sideline my other thought. I remember seeing this on the server. What's the worries about Berserk and the leaf buff in the huts?
So it's one of the generally discussed rules with everybody, where although we're using those as the main pillars for line of sight, entrants are not allowed to enter. So most of the time we'll actually have the ref collect it before the match if they can. We only had one issue this past Sunday where somebody purposely went in and collected the leaf, like we weren't going to notice, and that kind of led to a disqualification.
Yeah.
We got a lot of
Nice
eyes on
try,
it, lad.
Sly Dog.
With
Yeah.
thousands of people watching, you were bound to get sniped. So
Oh yeah, the chat doesn't miss anything, man. Sometimes it's hard to look at it for those event days. I try not to, because I sometimes get nerves, and also there's just chaos in that chat.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
they're gonna catch your every move. You can't have a voice crack without them giving you a damn hard time. So you're sure
don't
as hell
even
gonna
think
catch
about
cheating.
anything. Don't think about potting. Don't think about using a banned item or a skill. They're better refs most of the time than we'd like to admit.
Yeah. And thank goodness for that, because it could be hard when you're up there casting, shoutcasting to catch some of those little things. So thankfully, we do have a team behind us.
Absolutely.
And even if our team misses it, the audience sure as hell isn't.
Yeah, that's awesome. The audience being the third ref. That's hilarious.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
So back to where I was kind of going with my question then. Is there any thoughts toward like trying some different types of arena, like maybe doing like 4v4 or 5v5?
So we are definitely discussing that. We are trying to plan 2 upcoming events, one of which would be the Warsun Gulch League. I think
Okay.
we're kind of dead set on that. And then
Yeah.
the second event, we're kind of looking at something, a 5v5 has crossed our mind, but we're
Yeah.
looking at something a little bit more unique. And I kind of see on our little show notes here when you're talking about the Dalaran gaming with the Pokemon style.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
May
he
actually-
loves doing that.
We may actually do a pocket battle style like that as well. One of our Team Ready Murder members, Bobka, came to us with an idea for it, and we'd like to pursue that idea moving forward. And I know that the Bob, our admin, wants to go back to a more simple event style with like the 2v2s and stuff like that as well.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure it's probably more stressful for him than it is for you guys looking at chat and having your voice crack.
Yeah, on tournament days, it's I feel bad for Bob.
Yeah, oh, dude, Bob is such an MVP. I try to give him love during the cast and shout him out, but he does some serious work in the background. You know, I all of us have a role in making what the day is, and without him, the organization just wouldn't be what it is. And getting all the refs from all the servers, making sure these games are filled, and everything else that goes into setting those things up. I'm not good at that stuff. I can yell into the mic. I can make soundboard bites or different sound clips, and I can use my megaphone effect, and I can get the crowd ready to go. Welcome one, welcome all to the broadcast. But I cannot do the logistical work that he does. I just don't have it in me. So thank goodness that we have the team we have, so we can make the day as special as we do.
For sure. Yeah, that's awesome.
Sorry,
No, you're good. You're
I
good.
muted myself there.
That's awesome. So you guys have alluded to this a little bit, but I'm kind of curious to hear. Give me a little bit more on. Have you kind of reached out to Blizzard esports team? Have you reached out to Blizzard at all for some support on this? If so, what have you kind of gotten? What's been your experience with that?
Yeah, I've talked to Blizzard esports behind the scenes and with some people that are actually involved in like the stream casting and other event formations for them, and we've gotten some tips, and they've helped to kind of guide us down the right route when it came to like, okay, how should we do this?
Mm-hmm.
They also like to check in, and for me, if they're checking in, they're obviously noticing what we're doing, so I feel like we're doing something right.
Right. Yeah, that's good.
Very cool.
Yeah. So have you?
Just
What about like so like in terms of support, have they said anything about like, hey, we'd like to be able to offer you any kind of like advertising or any kind of like anything like that? Because I know that there's a lot of different avenues that they sometimes are able to utilize there. So have you been able to get any kind of support in that way?
So we had some social support moving forward. There was like
Awesome.
a few likes, like a retweet and stuff like that, and that's like all I can really ask for. Like, look, they gave us the platform, they gave us the game, they gave us the war games function. Like, they're obviously trying to make something happen.
Yeah.
Right.
So anything extra than that is much appreciated. We are receiving more advertising and other like clout from other areas. Like we had a huge thing on Warcraft logs for our guild manager and our esports events for like a week, and then Wowhead just posted an article on us, and we were getting a lot of outside of WoW interest as well, with like the people that sponsor us are basically going hard with like retweets and socials and getting their communities involved and kind of expanding it for them. So I'm glad that we have them involved too.
Nice.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
And when our team has really been built around that too. It's been like a grassroots movement in the regard that all of our crucial team members have just been folks that we've slowly interacted with over the past couple of years, whether it's someone I shoutcasted with or someone I organized a tournament with, and we all came together to create what is these Ready Raider tournaments. Like my I didn't even know at first when I had asked him to do this with me. He was just someone I had done stuff with before on PvP Henhouse, but one of the gentleman that does post pregame analysis along with like casting for the tournament, Rockman, is the one that was part of the Wowhead team. Didn't even know it, and it's just kind of really incredible in some senses that we've came from all different backgrounds and we all are do a very different role, but we've created this almost grassroots movement to get to where we are with our tournaments, and I feel
That's
like we've made a
awesome.
big splash in the twos, making another splash with the threes, and I can't wait to see what we do next. And hey, you know, right to kind of almost kind of retouch on what Grimy had said. Just the fact that Blizzard is approving our events means the world. Like we're happy for that at the
Yeah.
very least. If they want to put us in the client or something, hey, big tournament coming up.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna complain, Blizzard, if you want to
Right.
come, you know. But at the same time, I'm very happy with that level of support that we've even received, just being allowed to do these things in the first place.
That's awesome.
For sure. So I guess what would you say was the time frame between like to grow this grassroots? You said you guys have always been saying it's been this grassroots thing. How long are you guys talking about here? Has this been like just since they announced the war game? So has that been several months now, or is this like stuff that goes back years that you're talking about?
Well, for me, in the like, because everybody that is that I'm working with actively with Ready Raider right now currently have been people I've met over the course of streaming for a couple of years now.
Yeah.
And so especially I'd say for the past year here, especially when I've gotten more involved in the PvP scene, that's when my adventure has started with all this. You know, casting
Okay.
games on a daily basis on Henhouse, meeting some of these people I'm working with over those times, doing the different tournaments over the course of the year, and in each one of these members was an individual tournament, and we've come together to make this collaborative event. So as far as that, my influence goes and the people I've worked with, it's been
That's a couple
probably
years.
yeah, a couple years of
Okay.
working with these individuals, and I can't speak. I'm and this is actually be curious just to hear a little bit about Ready Raider's background where that's concerned, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, so with Ready Raider, so Ready Raider actually does a lot more for World of Warcraft and other games than just the esports and stuff like that. So one of the things about WoW Classic is it doesn't have all of the comfort integrations that retail does. With like, it doesn't have looking for group. There's no way to basically like track loot and stuff like that. So our original system was a replacement for Google Sheets that a lot of people were using to take care of it, because I'm an officer in my guild, and shout out to Ubers on Blaumel, but it's a lot of work for these people, and I come from a software development background, a business development background, so I was like, you know what, I'm just going to take what I know and see what it is. So we ended up doing that, and we used it for ourselves for a little bit, and then we were all like, wow, like look at what we made, and we kind of pushed it, and it's grown, and we've added more, like a classic armory, raid reset calendar, Warcraft logs integration.
Nice.
We just did a soft reserve system, like all kinds of stuff for anybody that plays classic WoW. And in this, we were like, our first tournament actually wasn't a PvP tournament, it was a parsing tournament. And we launched the tournament 2 weeks after Ready Raider went live to the public. And we had, I think it was over 20 guilds, international guilds, enter to see who could parse the best execution numbers in Blackwing Lair. And this was back when Blackwing Lair was a little bit newer. We had people from Europe, we had people from Australia, all over the place enter. And it was basically like, all right, you have from Tuesday to Tuesday to basically post your best number. So make use of this reset, and then the winning guild gets $1,000. And
Wow.
then the winning guild ended up actually donating their $1,000 to COVID relief, because that's when everything started picking up. So it was
Right.
like a good philanthropical
That's
story,
awesome.
and it kind of like helped us to grow when we were like, you know what, let's take this out of PvE and let's throw some PvP in here, because um, I work closely with my buddy Venocity, who's actually introduced me to OG Jeffrey at the start of all this, and has helped to make introductions to a lot of our other affiliates like Scarm TV, who post like how to tank videos on
Yeah.
YouTube, and all of them who are now part of Team Ready Raider, and we've kind of grown, and it's been
That's awesome.
it's been an outstanding thing to like see all of these grassroots people come together, because everybody did all this stuff on private servers for years, including myself. And now that the game's like back in the limelight and we're all reliving that nostalgia, we all want to like take advantage of that, and basically introducing these new concepts that have been integrated it in later versions of the game into vanilla and classic, as they've given us, has been like a huge like cool experience for us.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
Hmm.
Just for the parsing, I have to ask: is that basically so? Just to understand in my head, it's not just the best numbers, but that's also like time. So that's basically the fastest dungeon run.
So execution itself, so there's like three different, there's like progress, execution, like damage, parsing, healing, parsing. So as a guild-wide execution number, it takes a lot of things into effect. So it's like the amount of damage that your whole raid team took,
Okay.
the amount of healing that needed to go off, the amount of deaths, your speed, and your damage. It's a lot of it goes into
Wow.
effect.
Okay, so that's not just simply who got through it the fastest. It's
Yeah.
Yeah,
Holy.
it's yeah, like if you have a few deaths, you can count your win goodbye.
Okay, so it's almost like the Mythic Dungeon International, but classic version.
Yeah, and I'm actually
Cool.
excited. We may be doing something like that in the future, but for now, we'll focus on the PvP aspect of it. The winner of that tournament, actually, their execution number was like 100th best in the world at the time of the tournament. So there were some pretty good people involved.
Oh,
Nice.
wow.
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 That's impressive.
I don't know. I don't know if I got a chance to. That was kind of before we were interacting, Grimy, and I don't know if I got a chance to actually see that one. The first time we kind of chatted was when I did your 1v1 tournament on Blamau, if you will, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. There's a lot of debate about how to pronounce that one sometimes.
Yeah, I just usually say blammo. It's just the easiest way. You're not looking at all the extra unsaid syllables and everything like that. But yeah, the 1v1 tournament kind of takes us back, and we had just met and we were like figuring all this out and going through the rules, and I had a lot of help from like my guildies and other people on my server to put this together. And Jeff just comes in out of nowhere and gives the sickest shoutcast I've ever heard in my life of this 1v1 tournament outside of Oregon on my server. And I was like, you know what? We're going to make things happen together.
Yeah, that's like a little nostalgic. It wasn't even like that long ago, but it does feel like quite a while ago, and we really ran from it from there, didn't we?
Yeah, it was the start of something good, man.
Heck yeah, that's
cheers.
awesome.
Yeah, cheers to more years and more entertainment and more tournaments.
Nothing like hearing the bro love. That's awesome.
Yeah, feels good, man.
There's lots of bro love in our private chat with Jeff and all like the tournament admins and stuff like that. We hype each other up quite a lot.
Yeah, we do. We do. It's been great. There's always some message between the team when I end up waking up for the day, something to respond to. It's nice.
Yeah, that is good.
All right. I think we can ask the special question though, Andallyn.
Ooh, okay. You want to take it, or do you want me to run it?
I can take it. I'll take it this time.
Okay.
All right. So guys, Jalen Brack gives you a call. He's like, "Hey guys, I see what you're doing. I absolutely love the Arena Classic things you guys are going on there, and just all the classic tournaments you guys are doing with the war games. I'll tell you what. I'll do you a solid. Each of you get to call on one thing you can change. No questions. You want it, I'll make it happen. Don't care about the price. Don't care about who cares about it being pristine. Like, what do you want? Anything. It can be only one thing though.
Get rid of batching. Get it out of here, JJ.
Yeah, we've seen some horrible.
Get it out of here, Jay. That was an easy one for Jay. Next. No, I'm just kidding. No,
You're just rapid fire. That's okay.
Yeah, no, but I think that's it for me. And first, when you first asked that, I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to brainstorm on this one, and instantly, that's where I go. Yeah, someone says delete mages. I don't know about that. I don't know about that one.
Does that have to necessarily be PvP related, or can it just be like general related?
It's whatever you want. Yeah.
Whatever you want.
All right, so listen, I've seen private servers handle up to 25,000 players at once, right? Why is my classic server lagging? Why is my classic server lagging with 100 people in the same area? I've seen world boss battles with every single person on a server in the same place with no problems on a server hosted in somebody's basement, right?
Yeah.
Why do we have issues with something given to us official from Blizzard?
Yeah,
it's a darn good question.
The Silithus PvP during the gates opening was not nearly as remarkable because half of it you're fighting the lag monster, and it has that could have been the most special event of the server's lifetime, and instead it was kind of I don't want to say a letdown, but like I was really struggling to seek out the fun because a lot of it was just me just like not being able to cast. And that's just not fun.
I thought the lag monster was part of the classic experience, though.
There's truth to that. You know, it's a good point. And I think within reason, because here's the thing too. I think sometimes we get more acclimated to almost the private servers, like Grammy mentioned, and we're like, wow, these we didn't really have that there. And we maybe we even forget / maybe we didn't even play then when that might have been more of a prominent factor, because I didn't actually play the old vanilla servers, so more of my memories from vanilla were from private servers where that largely wasn't really an issue. Now let's be on a launch, of course, that was always going to be an issue on almost any given server besides a couple special ones, but yeah, you're right, that lag was a fundamental part. You know, we were all playing on dial-up, hardware was different, and so that was kind of a part of the beast that was old vanilla.
I wonder. But that's
no changes, I guess, right? No change.
Yeah. Well, that's a good question though. So is your question that do you want to have 10,000 people on a server without lag, or do you want to just have open transparency from Blizzard as to why that is?
I want them to not use the same server blades that they used in 2005.
But we sold them all already.
Both would be nice. Yeah. Both would be nice as far as like, of course, I'd love for that to be a possibility, but I also think there's something left to be desired with communication between Blizzard and their audience, and that might mean hiring some communication specialists that can kind of sift through the nonsense on forums and on Reddit and being able to get you the good information, because there is a lot of bad information too, and that can be really overwhelming for a developer to take all that in because there's a lot of toxicity. You need to hire a communication specialist to sift through the garbage, so we have a better connection with our developers with that median in between the two. I think that's something Blizzard really struggles at. It's something that I have a lot of respect for, and I won't go too much into this, but like GGG, the company that develops Path of Exile, I feel like the communication between the developers and the audience is just excellent. And I want to see that from Blizzard. I think they're capable of doing that. They're wealthy enough to where they could hire these medians between the developers and between the audience so we could communicate better and kind of treat us as adults and let us know what's going on, because we're older. You have an older audience. You might have a younger audience cycling into your current iteration of the game, but you do have a lot of older audiences, of a lot of your audiences older, and especially in Classic. I'd be curious to the average age even, but that'd be tough to find out. But either way, I would not mind if that communication was better. Along with I wouldn't mind if we had 10,000 players in one zone either. either one. I'll take either. I'll take both. No,
you're only allowed one.
That's right. Yeah.
Andallyn, do you have anything you want to ask Jay Allen? Back?
Man, I think this is tough. And I wasn't even thinking about it.
You were not prepared.
He wasn't prepared.
I was not prepared.
You are not
he's
prepared.
listening right now. You're on the spot. He's in the chat.
I know. Sorry, Jay. I let you down, dude.
Yeah, that's all right. He let us down too. No,
What goes around comes around.
It's all memes.
Yikes. Let's see. So one thing I would change, I would like for Classic to have a little bit more of a PvP centric type of, I don't know, mechanic is the best word to describe, but a PvP centric environment, essentially. So, like, I like the idea of the rank 14. Oh, that's awesome. I would like for there to be a certain, almost like a certain, a more integrated procedure. So, like, for instance, if you were rank 14 and I click on you, I want to see that, like, you're a tough mofo to kill, right? So,
Yep.
like, when you click on a mob and you say, oh, look, that's an elite mob or that's a rare mob,
Yeah.
there's a frame or something that, like,
It's a graphical representation.
exactly, a
Just how
graphical
difficult that is.
representation of what you're dealing with. So, when I click on a rank 14 player, I want to see not just the gear that he's got on to say, like, oh, yo, this guy's boss. I want to be able to see, like, oh, geez, I don't want to mess with this guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So I think
that
that's the
would
one thing
actually
I
be
would
pretty
change.
neat, like an elite kind of portrait or something you could unlock.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would like that. That would come to a that almost could be a roundabout discussion for another time, or a topic for you guys, like a Vanilla Plus. You know, what features would we want? You know, what is there things we'd love to bring into the game? I think that could be really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Indeed.
And on all jokes aside, too, with JJ, one of my favorite moments with him was when he announced that we were going to get Classic.
Yeah.
Making the analogy with the ice cream.
The ice cream
All of us
flavors,
knew it was
yeah.
coming. He's up on the stage. You're like, he starts talking about ice cream, and your heart starts to drop a little. You're like, no way. He's not gonna finally do it, and he does it. He drops the mic, and it's great to see. That was one of my favorite moments with JJ Allen,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah, no, that was an epic launch.
Yep, I was
Chills.
there. That was awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the best part was then it rolled right into oh my god, I'm gonna brain fart her name, the Bronze Dragonflight, where all of a sudden she rewinds the clock.
Chromie?
What? Yeah, Chromie. Oh
Yeah.
my god, I can't believe brain fart her name. All right, okay.
Yep.
I know what mine is, and it's pretty simple, but at the same time, I think it's something that's missed. Is I am missing having API access to the classic servers, so be able to be able to see all the things through the API and through the Warcraft Armory and all that you would be able to see on retail, but see it for the classic servers too.
How much easier that would make my job at Ready Raider.
You're welcome.
So much.
We actually fulfill our classic armory through Warcraft logs because we don't have it directly from Blizzard.
Yeah, the API doesn't exist for classic. I can only imagine how frustrating that can be on a data integrity side. It's just, ugh.
Folks really like leaderboards. Folks really like the competition. It's what makes games thrive for years to come in a lot of ways at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And I really wouldn't even mind an official Blizzard leaderboard for a multitude of things: clear speeds, server firsts. We could go one step further, maybe even rank 14 or our honor caps. You know, brackets. You know, I think that would be really neat if something like that was integrated with some sort of Blizzard site.
Yeah, I can only dream what that would look like.
That'd be awesome.
It probably would be hard work, to be fair.
Indeed.
Yeah.
I'm very good friends with the people that run Warcraft logs, and you can't imagine the amount of data and work that goes into establishing something like that.
Oh, I can't. It's unfathomable. Hey, let's roll into the WoW PvP news, and then let's handle and let these fine folks go and spend the rest of our evening. You can have your old fashioned, and I'll get another beer. How about that?
Sounds great.
All right. Who ordered up an extra large can of whoop ass?
Let's talk about the news. First bumper of the night. Poggers. Let's go.
Ooh,
We've been chatting.
very smooth.
That's right. So everyone, as you all pretty much probably know, but in case you don't, the AWC circuit is halfway done, and it has been super exciting. We've seen incredible games. Definitely worth watching. All of it's on YouTube. Go check out the VODs if you have not. Go check out, the WoW Esports Twitter. They're putting out the top plays and different little snippets of stuff like that you can catch. It really just like great stuff. If you're like, I just really don't want to watch the whole thing, which you do, but I mean, if you don't, you can still kind of catch like the top plays and stuff like that. Super entertaining. We've seen Cloud9 just be absolutely destructive, and we've seen other teams kind of look for a handout and need some little help. Golden Guardians, and it's been a lot of really unique moments and a lot of awesome just interactions to watch, and it's been a wild ride so far. So the rest of it should be really exciting. Swing over to the Liquipedia page though if you do want to see all of those results in a really nice condensed and well put together format. So that Liquipedia link exactly for the first and second week will be available in our show notes.
Indeed. I don't know about you guys. So out of the circuits that have been happening, which mirror matches have you enjoyed the most? The RMX or the jungle? I think those are the only ones that have actually been mirrors.
Yeah. I mean, I like the RMX mirrors just because it's RMX is a much faster play style in my opinion. I mean, jungle is too, but I just enjoy the RMX because I've played at a higher level at RMX. I haven't really played jungle before, so it's like it's a little bit harder for me to kind of see like, oh wow, that was such a good play, and to really kind of follow everything right on top of the ball like I can with RMX. So yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, jungle is so weird. Like all of a sudden somebody will just die, and you're like, "What happened?"
Well, yeah.
There's a feral.
That's right. Yeah, he put out a huge ferocious bite. Yeah.
Retail arena is something that I need to familiarize myself more with, and in one of the the classic casting is kind of a stepping stone for me because I'd like to think of myself as an aspiring professional caster where casting is concerned, and what my main primary game will be as I grow into this more is to be determined. But as of right now, it's classic, and I'm going to grow into, especially if Blizzard ends up doing TBC, grow into Wrath, and then I'm going to transition into retail. Now, I play quite a bit of retail whenever there's a launch. I'm sure, like many of you guys, I've capped most tunes and a multitude of times, and probably even most of this expansion, and I always enjoy that process. But so I know most class abilities and mechanics, but at the end, I still need to learn certain metas. And one thing I really need to learn is composition names. And I was trying to master that before our threes tournament for Classic, but part of it is some of the names are different, and I just didn't have all those terminologies memorized to be able to actually do that confidently and fluidly on the big screen. And so that's what I'll need to work on as time goes on.
Yeah.
But I do want to. I've been trying to watch more Retail Arena so I could start adapting if I want to transition into that field. And one of the things that made me want to do that was when I did the twos tournament with Ready Raider and Zico and Van Ruki, entered that and won that, did a post-game interview, and tried not to fanboy talking to him. And the interview went so fluidly. It was like talking to buddies. And it's like meeting your meeting your some idols, heroes in some ways. And to hear them kind of compliment the cast and the production value and give it praise was so encouraging to where it was like, and they're casting, and the one reason I brought them up is because they're casting that, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Correct.
And that's just so encouraging. How often can a person say they met someone they consider to be a hero and they compliment you on a craft you share with them? It was a very unique thing, and it was incredibly encouraging. And as a result, I do want to delve deeper into the world that is retail casting as well, but I need to transition into it. But I'm not as informed where some of those things are concerned as of yet, but it's something I aspire to be more informed on.
Yeah, that's awesome. I used to help train some of the casters and whatnot, and stuff like that too. So I've worked pretty closely with those two guys. They're awesome. I love them a lot. They do an incredible job. So
they really do. They know what they're talking about, and not only that, they're really nice guys from what I've noticed. It sounds like you think the same thing, and because you never know what to expect when you get to almost meet your hero. You don't know what to expect in the Discord call, but it was like we were old buddies or something. I couldn't believe how fluid the interview was, and that comes partially down to their social skills as well. They're content creators and casters, but it was awesome to see.
Yeah,
No, those guys are awesome.
absolutely. I was kicking myself though because one of the Ask AWC questions was the what's your favorite arena team name composition name. And I was like, and I was sitting over here telling my buddy like, oh dude, I love the Mongolian earthworm cleave, and then Sid over here just like, I think it was a thing in Kata with Mongolian earthworm cleave, and I was like, that was mine.
Some of those names are so creative. But they make sense once you hear the story behind it, or if you know what the class is all about, or whatever, what have you. I imagine it's going to come natural. The compositions are once you get into the scene enough, and it sounds like you guys are pretty familiar with those set compositions.
I'm down with some of them. Some of them they're still very weird to me. There's actually a Reddit post that I go to every once in a while to help me understand or remember what.
It's a good cheat sheet. Yeah, absolutely.
I tried to find a nice cheat sheet. I was looking for one, and I was finding them for different expansions, Wrath and onwards and stuff. And I'm like, crap, some of my classic comps aren't even in here. Are they even the comp? And then we had a couple times in the tournament that we had the one audience member or one person from the cast would label it as a said comp. What was the one that we had debate over, Grammy? Do you remember? It was RMP. RMP. And there was some people from chat. It's RMP. It's PRM, and they were reading real loud.
Yeah.
So it's like it's hard because those weren't even necessarily compositions in classics. So what do you call it? I guess whatever you choose to at that point. But
that is funny because there's always that argument about RMP being. Is it RMP or do you actually put the letters in alphabetical and make it PRM?
Yeah. I guess is there a right answer at the end?
PRM isn't even alphabetical.
If you can do that, then just call it RPM because it's vroom vroom.
Right.
Yeah, I like that more. Let's go with that one. I'll do that on the cast just to ruffle their feathers next time.
Yeah. Like, whoa, you guys haven't heard about this? Yeah.
Vroom vroom.
Vroom vroom.
Wind them up.
That's right. It even makes sense. It even makes sense with the bike trinkets now.
Oh, well, they're doing classic, so.
Oh, okay. Well,
I'll get a soundbite for Vroom Vroom at the very least.
Yeah.
Just find a Mazda commercial, you'll do fine.
Yeah.
Any Mazzy sponsors in the chat?
Any Menzies sponsors?
Yeah. If we're gonna promote something, if they want to sponsor us, they can feel free to.
Oh, yikes.
We're still waiting on our Cheerios money.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Oh.
Harsh.
Should have asked Honey Bunches of Oats.
While we're talking about waiting on things, let's talk about some of the hot fixes since we've been waiting for bugs to go away. This one blew me away. It's not PvP related, but the in Suramar there was a quest that was called meeting their quota, and you had to do this. It's over in it's a Suramar quest. I don't know why anybody would want to go back there and do it, but apparently it's been completely busted since I think BFA launched. So Blizzard finally fixed the quest. They figured out what was wrong and they were able to fix it. So after 2 years of BFA being out, you can go back and do that quest if you need to.
Dude, employee of the month over at Blizzard.
Actually, I think employee of the month goes to the person that found and fixed the bug about combustion in Classic.
Yeah.
Of course, like the tryhards we are, if everyone tried to abuse it, they could.
Of course. Well, I mean, why wouldn't you want to have a huge permanent buff of crit in combustion mode as a fire mage? Just make things explode.
I feel like I can't appreciate it as much as some of the raiding mages since I've been so stuck with my deep frost spec for some time now, but I'm going to be doing more raiding here in the next week. So goodbye frost, hello fire.
That's totally valid. And this one was interesting. So last podcast we talked about how Rex Troy had made the video about how PvP gems were broken because of PvP scaling, and we had that huge conversation with David about PvP scaling and just how issues. And after being presented with some actual video graphical evidence, Blizzard went in and corrected the issue that would cause gems to slightly be reduced, to reduce players' effectiveness in PvP under some circumstances. So apparently now Uh, if you have a gem, a socketed gem, it
Put it
should
back on.
scale properly. If I'm reading that right.
Yeah. Yep.
So,
Yeah.
yay! Now, in the meantime, this is I was trying to find the video. I can't find it, but apparently, if you go into an arena and you strip yourself naked, you can still one-shot somebody.
I saw that one.
Sounds like my kind of fun.
Yeah, why not? Just run around naked in an arena, one-shotting people.
Wait, what are you talking about?
I was watching a stream real quick, or just briefly last night, a retail, and I was wondering why people were naked in an arena, and now I'm starting to understand. It's coming together why that might have been what they were trying to do.
Maybe they're trying to reproduce it. I can't find the link for it now, but there was a VOD of, I'm pretty sure it was a monk who in the starting area had stripped themselves. So when they went into the arena, the scaly or whatever snapshotted, and then they took off their stuff and ran into the arena, and seriously like 100 to 0'd somebody within a couple globals. Anyway,
That's wild.
So
that's a lot of problems because that's not only scaling problems, but you should lose all your buffs whenever the arena doors open.
Yeah. What's interesting is normally you run into some of these bugs more so at the start of an expansion. It's interesting that we're seeing it right at the end, which isn't always going to be the case. I feel like more typically that's part of the fun sometimes. I feel like with fresh, a fresh,
Right.
I'm all about the fresh, any iteration of the game. And that includes the current one too. And we do see that new expansion come out, and it just feels, we get this unique feel. I get this unique feeling, and I'm sure you guys can kind of share this with me, where it's like it's the night before Christmas, kid in a candy shop, butterflies in your stomach. And there's no avoiding it. Doesn't matter how many times you've slowed down from the game or come back to it. It gets me every time.
Yep.
And no matter what, I love the questing. I love the zones. I love the music. And I'm a Classic boy at the end of the day, so I'm so used to my chat trying to come in, especially during the private server days. Since Classic came out, it slowed down. They've come in the chat and been like, oh, I don't like retail because of this. And I'm like, I always go in with an open mind, like, all right, guys, there might be something to be desired in some ways, but what about these things that are good about it? Like, it's okay to like things, you can like things for different reasons. And I've had that conversation so many different times with my community because there is so much I do like about the game, especially when a new expansion comes out.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Anybody can decry the one fault they find.
Oh, we love doing that as a human race, don't we? We love to complain. We love to. I feel I've had this conversation a lot with them, but it's like it is okay to like things and find things you love.
Yes.
We don't have to hate on everything. I know it's an easy way to relate to each other in this way where we can all complain about this thing, but you see sometimes too much of that.
Yeah.
True that. Many a conversation I've had offline about the same thing.
It's interesting. You probably do podcasts on that too. Honestly, you guys have all sorts of ideas after today.
Probably could.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Do we have enough time? That's the question.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's many other parts of the hotfix that are actually PvP related.
No.
A couple of things I did see. I don't know if you guys saw this. Cloud9, they're doing a connecting series where they're having some of their content creators, some of their esports players, all talking. So there's a really great one with Venruki and Zico talking with Snuts and Chanimal. And that VOD is up on their Twitch channel. I'll have a link for that in the show notes. It's about 2 hours long. It's really good, actually. There's a great little beginning, which is like, kind of get to know the players. They talk about some general World of Warcraft stuff. Then it goes into, there's a round of Quiplash, and which is hilarious, of course. And towards the end, they actually take a look and review a VOD. Or no, 2 VODs from from a couple of the AWC cups before the circuit. So they talk about what they did and what their thinking was, and actually go into kind of an analytical discussion as to what they were thinking when they went into the match, during the match, and that. So highly recommend it. It's I found it very enlightening, and it was great getting to see a side of Chanimal and Snuts, because usually they're like Snuts streams a lot, but Chanimal I don't really see him stream that much. So being able to see him on camera and get to know him and his personality was pretty cool.
Yeah, they're normally laser focused.
I feel like you see him appear in the PvP community all the time, and for a long time at that. Even when I was watching some old VODs for from old PvP VODs, some Wreckful VODs, you see him still. He was always there in that scene.
Yeah.
He's always been a relevant community member, and so it's neat to see that he's still in there, still kicking ass. And it wasn't just retail. He's primarily retail, but you also have seen him in some classic tournaments, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, you did.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think he played Warlock for at least one of them.
Well, that is kind of his favorite class. So, huh. All right. Okay, last question. Who watched the opening Shadowlands Afterlives animated short that they?
I loved it.
Yeah, it was pretty well done.
I got the chills.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I'm glad you brought it up. This is actually one with my chat where we were talking about it, and I got the chills. I loved Wrath, and it was so cool. I'm watching my language, but it was so cool. and one of the things that we talked about though was and this could be in games, in shows, in TV, in books. It can be a really dangerous road to trek down to bring back dead characters in any way, because you start to potentially lose legitimacy of when a character dies. When are you going to just resurrect it? Oh, some in the chat mentioned, well, we all resurrect in game, but it's like, well, kind of, but not really. Like not like, I don't know. It's different with your heroes when they die. It isn't really fundamental that they get resurrected when they die. But it feels like it could work. It feels like it could work. My hope was that we don't see like a redemption arc with Arthas necessarily. I felt we kind of saw that with Illidan. I don't know if I almost I don't want them to Sylvanas it where they milk a character until their story is tarnished in some way, and I don't want that, because I felt like his arc ended perfectly. It was beautiful after Warcraft 3. His whole arc kind of was coming to a close from those games. But at that same time, there's this part of me that's so giddy, even with these little things that I mentioned. So I'll go in skeptically, but I'm going in very excited because it was the beautiful bit of artwork. It was a great story. And for the first time in a long time, guys, I'm really excited about what's going to happen next. I really want to know, like, that story got me involved and interested to the point where I'm like, okay, but I want more now. And I haven't felt that for a while. So it's really good to be like pulled back into the game from a storyline perspective, wanting to know what's going to happen next. And I'm sitting at the edge of my seat. And that's exactly what happened here.
That's awesome. Well said. Well said indeed. I felt similar, because this does open up that whole question though, so the Shadowlands is the afterlife, truly. So if we're gonna see, the major characters like this, what are the next major characters? What are the next anime that's gonna be? Because we've killed a lot of people.
We really have. We're almost the worst bad guy of them all.
Yeah, no kidding.
Kind of makes me. I kind of don't want to go into the Maw, because I feel like if I go into the Maw, I'm gonna be like, like the cop that's been put away in prison.
Yeah. Well, here's a thought, guy. What are your thoughts about that? Because the end of it, Uther put him in there. Is Uther the next bad guy? Is that, or Uther in that like Verkul, like the I don't know if that was, I don't think that's her official title, but are they maybe going to be an enemy, or is this slowly a path towards corruption for Uther perhaps, which would be unfortunate for like
Paladins,
a story arc where you wanted him to be pure and noble, but could it be interesting? I mean, we've taken that path with Garrosh, and I don't know, some might like where that went, some might not, but is that a risk? Would that be too big of a risk?
I can't say. I can't say, because I've been playing alpha and beta.
Oh gosh, so maybe not. I've been
I
trying to avoid. Yeah, thanks for not. I appreciate it. I'm sure our audience might know, and I've been trying to avoid story. I've been trying to avoid cinematics. I've been trying to avoid streams, and part of it is because I feel like some of the magic is torn from me then. When it's fresh. I totally understand folks wanting to get their hands in there and get dirty and learn the expansion, especially as a content creator that wants to be like informing versus, being surprised by things and such.
Right.
But I want to go in there like an innocent child. Like, I want to walk in. I've even been avoiding like the Blizzard screen where they're showcasing zones. I honestly feel like sometimes in our generation, in video games, we're seeing, and this is the same for video games, movies, and everything. Because of the way you have to market yourself to be a successful product, we overshare. And and sometimes you lose the mystery as a result of that, the innocence, because we data mine and everything is discovered in this age of internet, and I try my best to avoid it so I can walk into that zone and it's a brand new zone and I can just have butterflies in my stomach. I can feel like a kid, and I'm going to do exactly that.
If you do that, the whole Bastion area will not disappoint you.
I can't wait, honestly.
The story is really good.
Nice.
I cannot wait to delve into it, and yeah, I've been successful in avoiding spoilers thus far, I suppose. So we'll see if that's the case going forward.
All right. Cool. How, Grimy? Do you have anything you want to say about the animated short?
I come from an artistical background as well, so I really liked the way and the spin that they like put on it, and the general overall feel of it, the way that they kind of drew it away from the traditional Blizzard cinematic style or the in-game cinematic that they've given us, and really delivered a piece of artwork on this. I saw like something floating around a little bit, and it looked like what we're going to be delivered for the other shorts is going to be like one quick short per covenant, based on what I saw from like the little thumbnails in the one post.
That's what it seems like, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm interested to see how the art style would kind of shift for like the darker covenants, and who we're essentially going to see in that. And I mean, I've watched a little and I've read a little about it, and try to stay updated on it, but I don't like watching gameplay before a game comes out, because I like that surprise. So I'm kind of with Jeff on that, on like, all right, I'm interested in what's going to happen, and I feel it's definitely a way to reach out to gamers that they've lost, or the general public, with something that's fun to watch. And I was like, I was watching the live stream at Gamescom, and like the Twitch chat was like, I don't even play WoW and this looks sick. You know what I mean? Like, people were generally intrigued at what the storyline was going to be.
Wow. That's really neat. So, Gerissar, you're muted, but that's really awesome, guys. Yeah, so you're definitely really not the beta testers, but
yeah,
that's okay. We can't all be beta testers, you know.
I sometimes think I totally get why people want to get involved with betas and get their hands dirty, especially from like you know, we're going to create YouTube videos on this, or I want to be competitive, so I need to get good now, so when it comes out I can be even better. Totally understand those mindsets. For me, it feels like betas and alphas in a lot of ways take away a lot of the magic of the game, the mystery of the game, which is a huge part of any game, or what could be a huge part of any game. And in some ways, for Blizzard, or for not just Blizzard, but any company, I feel betas and alphas are kind of like a cheap way to have your game tested, so you don't have to pay staff to in-house test. And but it's good marketing too. It can be, but it also can hurt your game if it's not in a good state, I feel. So it's a double-edged sword in that way. So I do avoid the betas and the alphas.
It creates this almost mini game of like holding your cards close enough, like, because you don't want to release too much, but you want to make sure you release the right things to where you test everything that needs to be tested, because you know that like so many people are watching the popular streamers stream these alphas and betas now. So, because like before streaming was really a thing, it was much easier for, you know, you could have a huge closed beta and virtually nobody would know about anything about the beta.
Yep.
But now, because it's so exposed and it's so out there and it's so like, oh my god, this is this is where you go to watch, or you watch Asmongold play through the beta or whatever. You know? And it's like. And it's like, you know, as a game developer, you almost kind of have to compensate for that now. So
yeah, 100%. And I think it's a partially marketing technique, and you see it kind of with movies too, with trailers, where it sometimes gives away the whole thing before you get there. And part of it is to get you excited about it, so you'll even buy their product. But one example I like to make is like in Thor Ragnarok, when I'm sure we all saw, this was a while ago, but I like this part of the discussion. I feel it's relevant. Imagine if in the trailer they hadn't shown 100 times when Thor is in the arena and Hulk lands and they start fighting. They show that in the commercial 100 times. Think how epic it would have been if we hadn't seen that, if we didn't know Hulk was even in it, and then all of a sudden, boom, Thor's fighting Hulk. It would have just been like, whoa! I feel that same way in games, where we there's so much, but On that same note, that is the reality we live in, where marketing your game and marketing your product or your movie is half of the battle to assure that it's going to be popular when it comes out. So you have to like ride that fine line.
Absolutely.
Very fair, very fair. All right, guys. So, shout outs. Anybody have any shout outs they want to do one more round shouting out Bob or anybody else from the Ready Raider crew?
Hey.
Bob will always get the love.
Yeah.
But big shout out to North and Rockman, who helped to shoutcast the events. They do an awesome job. Shout out to Vino and all of Ubers for help making Ready Raider a possibility, and to the people that constantly believe in us and then sponsor the events and put up the prize money for these competitors. And shout out to everybody that's kind of joined Team Ready Raider. We've started to grow rapidly, and we have some crazy people on our team now. I don't know if you saw like the classic Doomin video or the 10,000 hours of Mage video, but we just got Pint on. Bob could join Team Ready Raider. We have Beast AF, who's an awesome elemental shaman who just joined as well, and we just keep expanding. We started out with Scarm, and it's just kind of grown.
Awesome.
Yeah, big shout out to the Ready Raider team, everybody else that's behind the scenes making it happen. Of course, Bob once again. And you had already mentioned the fellow casters, North and Rockman. I feel like we are, as a trio, we just have a certain synergy that's a rare thing. And all the contestants making that possible, along with the folks filling those games and reffing them as well. The unsung heroes to these tournaments in a large way that actually make these things happen. And to my community that I saw that came out and said hello in your guys' chat, and it's good to see that they're want to get active and hang out with Jeffy, and that feels good too.
That's awesome. Andallyn, do you have anybody?
I don't. Sorry, I gave it a good think, and
You're horrible.
I don't have any.
All right.
I make them count, though. I make them count. Huh? You know what I mean? My shoutouts aren't free. My shoutouts aren't a dime a dozen. They're worth something.
I see how it is.
I time gate my shoutouts. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I want to give you a shout out and your friend for the fun game of last Tuesday.
Yes.
That was an absolute blast playing double Destro Warlock Priest, Holy Priest. It was so slimy yet satisfying. And also, I want to give a quick shout out again to our Patreons. So, neat thing, something that's come up. There's there's a certain level on the Patreon page that if you donate, I think Ketra's in the chat, so she can clarify this if I'm wrong, but I think it's over $5 a month. We're going to now start, not us specifically, but the Warcraft Radio team are going to be creating exclusive behind-the-scenes small discussions between staff and hosts. And so there's going to be little kind of Q&A discussions talking about, I'm not exactly sure the topics or how it's going to be, but if you want to get some of that exclusivity, all you have to do is go over to patreon.com, or actually go over to warcraft.com, and you'll find the Patreon link there, as well as the link to a bunch of other ways that you can support Warcraft Radio, and you can find all the other great shows that they have over there. So, now that I'm done doing that, one shout out to Grimy and to Jeffrey. Where can our listeners find you guys out on the interwebs?
OG, you want to start?
Yeah, I don't do too much with Twitter or YouTube or anything like that, but I do stream pretty regularly, so you can find me at twitch.tv/OG_Jeffrey, Jefffery. And you'll see me just shoutcasting events, doing tournaments, just hosting tournaments, generally goofing around world PvPing and just having fun with the game, along with doing random bits of RP on Grabulus and things of that nature. So yeah, that's about it for as far as where you'll find Jeff.
All right.
Yeah, you can find
Nice.
Ready Raider at Get Ready Raider on Twitter, Facebook, and all of that, or just go to ReadyRaider.com, and then you can find me personally on Twitter at Mr. Baloo. It's right there, MRBALLOU.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Oh yeah,
When-
yeah. And I was gonna say to you guys, thank you guys for
Yeah,
having
thanks
us
for
on
having us.
here, and honestly, I feel like I'd get along with you guys well in a game setting and comms. I can tell you guys just ooze passion when it comes to World of Warcraft, which is something I feel I do as well. So I feel like we'd get along for that. We could probably talk in hours in Discord. So I appreciate you guys having us very much because this was a good
Thank
time.
you.
I don't
Good.
do a lot of podcasts. But this has been encouraging to where I probably will venture in and do more of them.
Awesome. Maybe you can do a podcast on the other ideas that you brought up during the show.
There you go.
Yeah, yeah. Honestly,
There's
I've
days of content there.
Amazing.
I could ramble for days.
There you go.
Nice.
Well, awesome. Andallyn, can you list off to everybody listening at home where they can find us?
Sure, you can visit the Warcraft Radio website to find us and many other great shows at warcraftradio.com. You can also contact us directly via our Twitter with the handle at technically_PvP or email us at technicallypvp, all one word, at gmail.com.
Indeed. And you can also join our discussions over at the Warcraft Radio Discord. Links for all these are going to be in the show notes. And I want to thank everyone for listening. We'll chat with you next time. Have a great night.
Bye.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye, guys.